This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Our guest today is Gerardo Ravelo from Spanish Coalition for Housing. He's here to talk about the comprehensive housing services that they offer to the community. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great. It's great to have you here. And this topic, housing, has been so important for so many people across the country for the past decade. Well, actually for a long time, but especially with the housing crisis we had in the past 10 years. Tell me, tell me about your experience at Spanish Coalition for Housing and how you came to be part of that and how the organization has responded to this need.
Well, first of all, Spanish Coalition for Housing has been operating, or it was established back in the 1960s.
1960s.
So we've been in the community for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the crisis that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
Spanish Coalition for Housing identified that there was a crisis and started to work towards assisting the community, different communities in the Chicagoland area,
Mm-hmm.
to address that issue, which was all the foreclosures and all of delinquencies that were coming back left and right,
Mm-hmm.
back in the crisis. I started the Spanish Coalition for Housing in
Mm-hmm.
February 2009.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I first came on board. I
Mm-hmm.
came on board for another not-for-profit with some housing experience. I
Mm-hmm.
was a housing counselor at that point with experience on foreclosures. It was when the foreclosures were heavily, it was like the peak of the crisis of the foreclosures.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I've been working in the Spanish Coalition for Housing, assisting families, communities
Mm.
throughout the city.
Awesome. Now you said Spanish Coalition Housing for Housing has been around since the 1960s. Tell me about some of that history and what made people want to open an organization like this. What needs were they responding to then?
Well, Spanish Coalition for Housing identified different housing needs in which people was not treated fairly or discriminated as far as housing. So they established Spanish Coalition for Housing to assist and provide this assistance to low-income families
Mm-hmm.
throughout the whole city.
Okay, and obviously that's is that still an issue that that Spanish Coalition for Housing sees in the services that they're providing? Blatant discrimination or no?
I personally don't see a lot of discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt that it's still out there.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's been monitored a lot closely.
Mm-hmm.
The department, which is HUD, has implemented different rules and regulations as far as discrimination.
Now, HUD is the federal.
The federal, correct.
Housing. It's called Housing and Urban Development, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a federal entity.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Spanish Coalition for Housing is a certified agency from HUD as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So.
And what does that mean specifically?
Basically, what it means
Mm-hmm.
is that HUD recognized that Spanish Coalition for Housing is an entity or organization who is working in collaboration with them, and we also receive a little bit of funding from them.
Okay. Okay. So this past of fighting discrimination now comes to another place in time of assisting people. And you said during the peak of the crisis, what years were they, or what year?
2000, late 2009, all 2010, 11, and it started declining 12. 13, we see how the market was declining as far as foreclosures.
Mm-hmm.
However, based on recent studies that we have that I have read specifically,
Mm-hmm.
we believe at Spanish Coalition for Housing, we believe that some areas, specifically African American and Hispanic areas, we still consider those hard hit areas whose foreclosures are not declining.
They're not declining. Wow. So let's say I'm a person that I'm having a tough time making payments. I'm afraid of foreclosure, what's going to happen. I'm afraid of losing everything. What can I do?
My first advice will be to contact one of the HUD certified counseling agencies. You can contact the Spanish Coalition for Housing.
Mm-hmm.
We do have counselors who work dedicated staff for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what the counselor will do, or what a homeowner can expect as soon as they walk into our doors. They will sit down with a counselor. The counselor will do or create an analysis. Will prepare an analysis, financial analysis of their specific situation. They will really go in depth with that financial analysis to identify possible options based on that specific situation. Now, for homeowners, they gotta keep in mind that they may know that my friend got this type of loan with this rate, this modification, but I'm not getting this assistance. There's a big difference, although they may have the same bank, the same servicer, but the owner of the loan might be different, which is what we call the investor. So when it comes to that situation, even though both loans are served by the same lender, they may not receive the same type of assistance because the owners or the investors have a different guidelines or different programs.
Okay, and so I come in and see the counselor, and we try to work with the loan, modifying it or something, or through the counseling, I find other avenues to try to avoid foreclosure, or
definitely the goal for Spanish Coalition for Housing and basically for all counselors is to assist the homeowner into avoiding foreclosure. Foreclosure will be what we call the last resort, depending on what their specific situation is. In some cases, foreclosure is their only option. In the state of Illinois, we know that the state of Illinois is a judicial state. Therefore, a foreclosure case could take a long time before a homeowner can be removed from the property.
Wow. So, what's the time?
A timeline? At least 11 months.
11 months. So that means if there's no other option, and through the counselors at somebody at Spanish Coalition for Housing say, well, there's no option but to go through that. The person, from the moment they initiate that process?
You're talking about the timeline?
Yeah.
That will be from the moment that the foreclosure case was filed.
Okay, so tell me about that. So take me through the foreclosure process for our viewers. So what happens, and how does Spanish Coalition for the Housing respond or assist the family in that?
I mean, let's say, first of all, they cannot start a foreclosure case until a homeowner is delinquent or defaulted on the loan at least 90 days. 90 so you need to be 3 months without making a payment before the case can be referred to a foreclosure attorney.
Okay.
In some cases, longer, depending on the lender.
Okay.
Now, once the case is referred to a foreclosure attorney, lender will not take any partial payments anymore.
Okay.
Okay. So the attorney files a foreclosure case, and then the homeowner is served with the summons and complaint that they need to, that's telling them that they have a foreclosure case against them, and that is going to start. So they're summoned to go to court. First of all, I'm not an attorney.
Okay.
So I don't want to say anything. It's just my experience as far as working with homeowners with with foreclosure cases already. Once they receive the foreclosure documents, which is the summons, they have to answer to that within 30 days.
Okay.
They have their first court date is 60 days from the point that they were served. No, I'll take it back. It's 60 days from the once the case has been filed.
Okay.
So it will be 60 days from that, which is 2 months. That's when the first court date is. On the first court date, judge wants to know what's going on, what are the intentions of the property, or the homeowner want to keep it and want to give it up. Based on that, even now, specifically in Cook County, once the homeowners appear in court and they tell the judge that they want to retain the property, the judges are referring to counselors.
Okay.
The Cook County has a great program in which we're also, Spanish Coalition for Housing is a participant of the program, in which we assist, we get direct referrals from the court.
Okay, and so you go through that process of foreclosure. It's basically a mark on your credit, right?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, your credit is affected every 30 days that you're not making a payment.
Every 30 days.
So your credit, because they're reporting to the credit bureaus that you're not making a payment. So your credit is affected from that point. Now, The issue with the foreclosure, as far as credit-wise, once the foreclosure is done, it will appear on your credit report.
Mm-hmm.
It will remain there for 7 years.
7 years. So that means I don't have the option of getting a home loan or what during that time, or very.
No, it
it's
don't.
very tough.
Depending, it's a little tougher
Okay.
to get a loan.
Mhm.
You definitely won't be able to get a loan within 3 years.
Within 3 years. Okay.
Within 3 years, that's absolutely not. In some cases, some lenders they don't issue or they don't offer a loan
Mm-hmm.
after 5 years of the foreclosure
Okay.
or
Wow.
short sale.
A short sale.
Many people don't know, but a short sale, it's also on your credit report
That means you're selling the property
For
for
less
less
than
than
what for
less
less than what you owe.
what you. Okay. Okay.
Let's say I owe
Mhm.
150, and I sell the property for 100. That is a short sale because someone is getting a short,
Hmm.
which in this case will be the lender.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So that's definitely a topic, like you said, that is important to in the African American community, in the Latino community, because it seems like the foreclosure crisis in those communities hasn't ended.
No, it has not.
Mhm.
Based on some studies and some articles that we have read, we believe that there's some specific areas, highly African American, Hispanic,
Mhm.
Latino communities that are still facing a high rate of foreclosures.
And do you know why? Some of the reasons why that's happening? Just a higher rate of poverty or difficulty?
I think
Mm.
that the unemployment
Mhm.
has a play in that. Unemployment, lack of knowledge or education.
Mhm.
I can tell you from experience. My parents are Spanish speakers,
Mhm.
so when they purchased their first home, I was a teenager and I was serving them as a translator, interpreter.
Mhm.
So I could see how the lack of knowledge, the lack of education, the lack of understanding on a specific documents. These documents have a terminology that not everyone can read.
Right, right. So tell me, because Spanish Coalition for the Housing obviously does not just help people in the foreclosure process.
No, definitely not.
You
We-
also help people who are thinking about buying a home, right?
Absolutely.
Or in planning it and going through that. And you just spoke about something incredibly important. Your parents and other Spanish speaking people who may not, I mean, even English speakers probably don't understand all the legal terminology
Right.
and those forms. So take me, let's say I'm a client, potential client for Spanish Coalition for Housing, and I'm thinking about buying a home. I come to your office. What happens then?
Well, once you come to our office, you will sit down with one of the counselors.
Mhm.
The counselors will pull your credit report um, from all 3 credit bureaus.
Mhm.
This is what we call a soft pull, because you're not. When you pull your credit report, that's one thing that many people don't know. When you pull your
Mm.
credit report, when someone pulls your credit report, let's say you're trying to get a car note
Mhm.
or a credit card or a department store card,
Mhm.
every time they pull your credit report, your credit score declines.
Really?
Yes.
Every time
So,
somebody asks for that, your credit card.
let's say
your
you
credit
go
score.
to Target and
Mhm.
they offer
They'll
you
get
the
the red
credit
card.
They offer you the credit card.
Right, they're always offering that thing.
Definitely. Let's say you said yes and they pull your credit because you are soliciting like a credit card. Your credit score may be affected. Well, no, not may, will be affected. It's not a dramatic drop, but it will drop. Now, if you do it constantly, then yeah, you will see a big drop on your credit score.
Wow, that's interesting. So you said a soft pull.
Right.
What does that mean?
Because when you go into our office, we're marked as a non-for-profit, so you're not getting a loan.
Mm.
You're not pulling your credit report to get a financial service.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you're pulling your credit report to get to know what's in your credit report for educational purposes.
Okay.
So when we pull your credit report, we put it for all 3 credit bureaus. If you're thinking about purchasing a home, we put your credit report for all 3 credit bureaus. We see what your credit scores are, if there's any collections, credit lines. When you sit down with the counselor knows specifically the guidelines that pretty much underwriters know. So the counselor will be able to identify what exactly is maybe a potential barrier that you will need to address before you can transition into owning a home.
Okay.
That's the first thing that the counselor will do.
So maybe the advice will be pay down some of this debt.
Correct.
Or pay it off.
Or you don't have enough credit lines, you need additional credit lines or non-traditional credit lines.
Like, okay, tell me about that. Not enough credit lines. Then?
A credit line is considered like a credit card,
Mm-hmm.
a card note. For many lenders, they need at least a 12-month history of
Okay.
good history of payments. On
Mhm.
a credit card, student loan, card note, student loans, another topic that is very important.
Right.
Because many people don't know the implications of a student loan.
Mm-hmm.
So the credit lines, you need at least, many lenders, you need at least 3 credit lines. So let's say you have your car note and 1 credit card.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have sufficient traditional credit lines to move with the process.
Right.
So that's when we go to non-traditional credit lines. Non-traditional credit lines are things that can be, first of all, you need the history of it. A good example, you go to the gym, gym membership every month, paying on time, that's a credit line.
Okay.
Cell phone, who doesn't have a cell phone?
Right. Okay, so that's a non-traditional.
That's a non-traditional credit line. Those are the ones that do not show on your credit report.
Okay. So that's this counseling, this what do you call it? Pre-buying?
Home buyer education counseling.
Okay, home buyer education. This is somebody that's already wanting to get into that process.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And once they figure out their credit and its health or lack of health, and they work that out, then what do you do? What else do you offer?
Well,
the counseling continues, or?
Yeah, definitely. But let me just backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
Once we put your credit and we determine, let's say, your what we consider credit worth it, you're ready to transition into that. Maybe they issue savings, but through a saving plan, we can work on that.
Okay.
But let's say your credit is in good condition to transition, then you will continue to work with the home buyer education counselor.
Okay.
Let's say that your lack of credit or your credit is damaged and you need to work into rebuild your credit. We have dedicated staff that does financial education. That only thing they do is work with you into increasing your credit, improving your credit, rebuilding your credit.
Okay. Wow.
They will give you all the tools and they will tell you exactly what you need to do, if you need to dispute, if you need to work on something. So that's what that staff will do.
Okay.
So at that point, you will have like 2 avenues. Either you're ready to go to the home buyer education, or you may need to go to the financial education first. Once you get your credit score, your credit lines, you get your credit where it needs to be, then we'll transition to the home buyer education.
Okay. So it's all about being financially fit.
Correct.
Okay. And so I've gone through that process of financial education and home buyer counseling, and hey, I'm ready to buy a home, but I don't have a whole lot of money.
Okay.
What do you offer folks like that? Because that's what you put on your website.
Yeah.
Low to moderate income.
Low to moderate income, correct. Actually, we serve low to moderate income families, and throughout the city, there are several programs. Several programs that offer down payment assistance, rehab assistance.
Okay, tell me about that specifically, down payment assistance.
I know that IDA, which is an state entity, they have a program in which I believe they offer $5,000 as far as down payment assistance. I believe it's called Welcome Illinois, but I don't remember exactly the name on the top of my head. But there's a program from IDA.
And if people are curious, they can just
they can
go to the website and
go to
give
the
you a
website,
call.
give us a call, schedule an appointment. The counselor they know all the different programs that are available.
Okay.
Through some partner lenders, there's some type of assistance as well.
Okay.
I know that some of our partner lenders do have some down payment assistance, like $3,000 for down payment assistance, and it's not that difficult as far as identifying the assistance. One of the things that I would like to mention is that many of this assistance even if you receive down payment assistance, rehab assistance,
Mm-hmm.
most of them are forgivable loans,
Forgivable loans.
which means that after 5 years that you're living in the property and you're keeping your property in good shape, you're making your payments on time, whatever type of assistance you receive,
It's gone.
it's gone.
So you don't have to, after 5
You-
years, whatever's left on that, excuse me, on that loan, you don't have to pay anymore.
No, it's not the loan, it's the assistance.
The assistance, okay.
For example, there's a program,
Just to be clear, because
Yeah.
that could be a place where people get
right.
mixed up.
There's a program, let's say there's a specific program that is
Mhm.
called the NSP. NSP program those are areas that the city has identified in which they provide up to $35,000 for down payment assistance.
Okay,
Those,
that's a lot of money.
that's a lot of money. Those $35,000 for down payment assistance it's a forgivable loan. You get a loan for those $35,000
Mm-hmm.
through a specific lenders that are doing that specific program. And after 5 years that you're making your payments on time, you're keeping up with the property, then those $35,000
Whatever remains.
will be forgiven.
Okay, so I mean, if you're paying,
Your loan for
Okay.
your mortgage or
Mhm.
your mortgage for the house, let's say you bought the house for $135
okay,
and you received the $35,000 for
Mhm.
down payment assistance. So the $35,000 you use them for down payment assistance, so your loan is for $100,000,
okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now these $35,000 are frozen.
Okay,
Okay, after 5 years that you made your payments on time, you didn't delinquent, you didn't sell the property, you didn't move out of the property, then those $35,000 are forgiven and you only owe 100.
wow, that's pretty great. I mean,
So that's an example of what I meant by forgivable loans.
okay, and you said there are a lot of, well, a few options available to people that
Definitely,
that
definitely,
are seeking to buy a home.
absolutely. There are
Mhm.
some options. I will talk about the NSP. There's also another program which is called the MMRP
Mm-hmm.
program. That program is a program from the city. That program offers up to $35,000 for rehab assistance.
Okay, what does that mean?
Let's say you have a property that is it's in the market for $90,000, but it needs $30,000 for work.
Okay,
If that property is located within the MMRP area, then the property qualifies for it. So you need to qualify for the purchase price.
okay,
Okay. After you qualify for the purchase price, let's say you get the assistance, the $35,000 for a rehab assistance. You have $35,000. They're not gonna cut you a check for $35,000.
Yeah.
You need to provide. You need to provide a contractor. That
Mhm.
needs to do all the quotes
Mhm.
on how much the
You have
rehab
the
is
re-
gonna
you-
cost.
You need to have the receipts and,
Correct. I mean, you need to have the quote.
and you send that to them?
Yeah.
Okay,
You need to provide that proof. There's specific requirements for that.
okay,
Once you sit down with a counselor, if you're interested into that specific program,
Mhm.
the counselor can walk you through the process.
okay, awesome. Wow, this is a long and detailed conversation and with a lot of important information, and we're getting close to the end of the show, but tell us very briefly about some of the other programs you offer the community, because you do offer a whole lot.
Definitely, we do have a lot of programs. We have first of all, we have 3 offices. We're spread through the whole metropolitan Chicago area.
Mhm.
We have an office in the far north, which is located by Pulaski and Armitage. That's on Hermosa, Humboldt Park, Belmont, Cragen area.
Mm-hmm.
We have another office in Pilsen, which is in the heart of Pilsen.
Mm-hmm.
That is 1918 South Blue Island Avenue. So
Okay.
that's in the heart of Pilsen, right on 18th Street,
Mm-hmm.
by Benito Juarez High School.
Okay.
And then we have another office in the far southeast of the city. That office is located in 9010 South Commercial Avenue.
That's a commercial. Okay.
So it's on the southeast of the city,
Mhm.
really close with Calumet City, Chicago Heights,
Indiana.
Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that office received. We do serve some people from Gary, Hammond, Indiana.
Okay. Wow.
Some resources there are not a lot of resources in that area,
Mm-hmm.
so they come to Spanish Coalition for Housing for assistance, mainly for avoiding foreclosure.
Okay.
So we offer pretty much the same type of assistance through all three offices.
Mhm.
As an organization, as a wide organization. The type of assistance that we offer, different programs we have a Chicago Bilingual Honor Association. Basically, we help or assist landlords, small landlords. When we refer to small landlords, are homeowners who bought a two-flat. They live on the first floor. They rent the second floor. But in the city of Chicago, if you're a landlord, you have to follow specific rules and regulations. So we do have dedicated staff that does that.
Okay.
We serve tenants when they have issues with landlords. We are one of the few, if not the only, non-for-profit agency who does landlords workshops. Let's say if you're buying a two-flat, some lenders require you to take some classes for landlord education. We are one of the few non-for-profits who offer those classes and give you a certificate at the end of the completion of the class.
Well, that's awesome. And if people are curious about any of these services, they can just stop by your office.
They can stop by any of our 3 locations. They can go to our website when they can get more detailed information, or they can give us a call as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming out today and sharing such important information. It's very detailed, and obviously people should seek you for more information, right?
No, thank you for having me.
Okay, thanks. And to you, thank you for joining us. Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune into Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.